There are so many signs that he's failing and unaliving it are the wrong words. Diminishing. Diminishing is probably the better word. One of his avatars made a comment that he was returning to point state. And that would mean his wave is collapsing. Well, that's how I interpreted it. He will be physical. Again. He was here for about 3 weeks. He left just after Easter. It was an involuntary visit. But I think this time, when he goes to point state again, it'll be permanent. The one that gave the message is experiencing incarceration. This person is going to spend the rest of their life in a cell, which is interesting because if your wave has collapsed and now you're a point, if you're physical, that what makes you an atom? So this atom is going to be in a cell. A cell implies life. It will be in someone. I got the impression that he's gonna retain his consciousness. I don't think he's gonna be able to influence anything. I think he's only gonna be able to watch. But it's still creepy to think about. Nobody's gonna want that in them. When I look at us, there are signs that we're moving in a good direction. There are also signs that we're not moving in a good direction. I actually found what could be considered the potential for an inciting event that could end us. It's the homelessness laws. Homelessness is an interesting thing. We have like 3 types. There's the first group, which is, it's actually quite a healthy group. These are people that have figured it out. They're able to live comfortably, whether it's in an RV or a van, and they travel around and they live in that vehicle. And there's the next group, which is, I think, more forced into homelessness. They can't afford to live in an apartment or a home. And the lucky ones still have their cars or a van to live in. And then there's the third group. The third group are the ones that I think most of them voluntarily left. In this group, you have the ones with substance abuse issues. There are some with mental health issues. And there are also probably some that just said, I'm done. I'm done. And they don't have any other problems. They just said, I'm done. And they left society. Those are the ones that you want to talk to. If you decide to reform the governments, get rid of all the ones that don't like us. They're the ones that will probably have some pretty good ideas. The concept of moving around being without a home, for a lot of us, feels wrong. We wouldn't choose it for ourselves. And it's interesting if you look at how we've evolved. We started out nomadic. I'm pretty sure that's how we started out. Groups would follow the herds. They would follow food, basically. Where the food went, they went. When the seasons changed, they would move to areas that had better opportunities for food. And they say that the first domesticated animal was a wolf. I guess it was either brave or desperate. Said, hey, I can get food here. And it became friendly. And I think someone came to the conclusion that, well, this wild animal can live with us. What if instead of chasing the food, we contained it so that we didn't have to travel so much? We could have nicer homes. Something that's easier to heat. Something that keeps the other wild animals out. I think that's probably how it happened. And the permanent shelters allowed for growth. Instead of foraging, I'm sure they still foraged, but they started to grow their own food. And contain the animals, contain the plants. Grow your own stuff. Probably not initially, but eventually it became efficient. It saved time, it saved energy. And with the extra energy and time, you can put that into other endeavors, metalworking and other crafts. And people gradually improved their lifestyles, the way they lived, their quality of living improved. So gradually, culture was built up and built up and built up. And nowadays, well, at least in the first worlds, we have running water, electricity. We can heat and cool our homes. It keeps the bugs out, keeps the wild animals out. We have all these advancements. So when we see homelessness now, it's not nomadic anymore. It's these people, the canaries, have deliberately taken that step backwards to reject that system. I think they could tell us something. I think we should listen to them. Because something is wrong. They've rejected a lot of advancements for their lifestyle. Some of these homelessness laws are interesting because they restrict and they restrict, and the people that left the system are being restricted even more by these laws. They can't escape them. The system that created the homelessness isn't going to fix it. You need to fix the system. Putting people with mental illness, locking them up, isn't going to help them because they left the system for a reason. It's going to cause unalivings. When you do that, there are so many problems with the system now, with the corruption in the system that have been recorded. You can go on the mesh and see all kinds of stuff about how it's being abused. And especially with the mental illness thing. You can essentially, in some cases, without a lot of cause, lock people up indefinitely without a trial. And they're trapped. It's a very dangerous thing. And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that need structure and help, that, need to be kept from people that they would hurt. Maybe sometimes themselves, but it's a slippery slope. That is a potential inciting incident right there waiting to happen. I haven't seen it anywhere else yet. Just that. In a lot of ways, we're on a really good path. If you look at the Big Cat car company, it's bad that the car company is failing because it affects people. But symbolically, it's very, very good. It's a very good thing. It occurred to me that I told the executive that he was surrounded by demons and that he could pick them out by who is meek and who is not meek. And that may have been a little vague. I wonder, because he does seem to have a little bit of, shall we say, divine protection. Maybe he could ask to see them. And I wonder if that would work. I've mentioned in the past that the ones that I could see had color-coded themselves. There's red, green, blue, and yellow. And for the longest time, I only saw the red, green, and the blue ones. And it's interesting when you think about that. Those are the colors of the old style color televisions. That's what the images form from, red, green, and blue. And so I puzzled over it for quite a while. There should be yellow, because those are the 4 colors. There should be yellow. So one day I asked to see them. I said, if there are yellow ones, I want to see them. And they started showing themselves. And I was shocked. Why? The other ones just kind of popped in. They've made themselves known to me. But the yellow ones didn't. And I've speculated that they were the Trojan horse. They actually would have qualified as meek before the word meek was changed. And I wonder if it's just that simple. You just have to ask to see them. I don't know. I asked him in the past to show himself to people. And he said no. He didn't want to. I think the reason that they did show themselves to me, I don't think it was because he wanted me to see them. At one point, the good one and the bad one were the same entity. And now that they're split into 2, I don't know, I think the good one still has a little bit of pull. I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would work. It's puzzled me. I've thought about it quite a bit. Why are these demons responding? And the thing is I've kind of experimented with it a little bit. They'll respond to me, but on their own terms. If it's not something they want to do, they won't do it. I specifically asked for, there was one of them that I wanted to know about, if this person was a demon or not. And so I said, well, if this person is a demon, have them come out to me, turn around 3 times, and then, just leave. And it's funny that, and I gave it a timeline to be done by. And the one that I was asking about didn't do it, but a different one did. And let me tell you, that was weird. That was weird. But he didn't do it that day. He did it the next day. But it was interesting. I got a message the other day about, actually it was, the part I'm going to share is part of something is a little bit bigger. If you've ever seen the movie Twister, it's about there's a couple of groups of people that chase after tornadoes. And the main group that you're watching is kind of this ragtag group of scientists that, they're trying to get tornadoes figured out. And this competing group, you could call them the adversarial group, was formed from a member that had left the first group. He stole plans for an instrument pack, and then got funding and formed his own group. So we'll call that one the adversary. Anyway, the part that was highlighted to me was they had gotten information about a tornado that was forming. So they went to go chase after it. And they do it in this, it's a group of cars. And in the start of the group has the instrument pack on the back of this truck. And they're followed by all these other scientists. And at the time of the movie, they didn't have GPS. So you had this one that's the navigator. And he would find the shortest route. Well, when it was announced that the tornado was a thing, the guy in the lead car basically just turned the vehicle towards the tornado. And before the navigator had a chance to, give him directions. So they're going down this dirt road. And you see this guy in the back. They call him Rabbit. And he's looking at maps going, gotta find this road. It's like Bob's Road. And then the next view is you see them, they're just plowing through this cornfield. And everybody's upset because nobody can see anything, and you're ruining this guy's corn. And they're yelling at him, where are we going to end up? And it's the highway. And all of a sudden they bust through, and they're on the highway. And the other adversarial team is coming up the highway, and they almost hit them. It was startling for both groups, because you're bursting out of this cornfield and at a 90 degree to the highway, so they all had to take a sharp right. And there's already traffic, so everybody's trying to get out of the way. The other one, everybody was a little cranky. I think we're getting ready to leave the cornfield. And we may have the same surprise waiting for us when we do. I don't know what that surprise is going to be. But it could involve a change of direction.